Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Subspace App Sync. This is 9/6/2022. Let's get started. All right. So we got a lot of tickets done this week. I think our main focus this week has been wrapping up some of our desktop app fixes as we're going into our security audit. Additionally, we've done quite a few tickets on telemetry. We have a guest joining us this week, Daniel, who's been helping us out with some of our telemetry changes and search as well. So let's go through that. So we had one where we simplified telemetry front-end branch. That was kind of our first fix to kind of help us get prep for our stress test to kind of make it much more seamless. We also got our remove sorting done. Do you want to talk a little bit about that search?
Yeah, so we noticed that if we have a lot of nodes on the front end, it's kind of difficult to resort them on every update. So initially we were planning to just disable sorting at all because it's like not very critical. But then when I started working on this issue, I noticed that we can just sort less. So eventually we end up sorting on every new block, which still like has yeah, we still have sorting, which improves user experience, but it decreases rendering performance issues. Yeah.
Great, cool. Make node count more visible. I can talk about this one. So this is just a UI fix. Essentially, we wanted to start highlighting more of the focus about these larger summaries. So previously, if you guys notice in this tab, you can see the node, but I don't have the UI to show you right now. But essentially, we've made it a lot more larger and visible for people to see what our total node count is, which is going to be helpful for our stress test testing.
I think if you open, if you open PR, there is a screenshot, so it will be visible.
Let's see if we can find them. Okay, maybe I'll do that later because that's not linked here. But okay, that's good. Good feedback. Add npm script to generate docs. I think self-explanatory. For our security audit, we are creating more. We are doing doc generation to make it simpler for the audit team to generate it if they don't want to look at just inline code. Sort nodes only when receiving new best block. I think this is attached to the other issue, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is, yeah.
Limit number of nodes rendered in the map view. I think I talked about this one a little bit. But yeah, essentially, when our map tab on telemetry is one that takes a lot of like the performance impact when it's like trying to load all the nodes. So I think one of the first passes for this is to kind of limit how many nodes are rendered. So in this PR, we limited it to 1,300. We have additional fixes to kind of change that format, how we render the map view. So that those should be coming soon in the following ticket. Enable node list. This is just a PR to make sure that we can see it again. And then finally, show the stats tab. We have a constant that we use that's going to make it easy for us to like pretty much disable those tab views as we're going through stress testing this week. One of the tabs we do want to maintain is the stats tab, which shows us the overall summary page for telemetry.
Is that the header, Arthur?
Yeah, so if you go to telemetry, tell me if you guys can see this, but essentially it's this section. Oh, and here, perfect. This is the node count. This is what it looks like now. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, so with this, like, we had incremental changes for telemetry, so we can see everything now. They've made some like UI front-end improvements for these pages. So, but if should things start like getting more degraded, we can use that constant, redeploy, and it'll pretty much remove these tabs. Should we need to do that? All right. In progress. Implement subscription for sync state. Is this still? Are we still doing this? Or
I think it's not relevant anymore. It's Subspace desktop.
Okay. Let's go to
backlog, probably.
Back you. All right, I'll move that back to backlog. Update map. Are you? Oh, that's right. We just had a discussion about this. You wanted to talk a little? Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a map, and on the map currently we show individual nodes with details, as you can see on the screen. So because we potentially will have a lot of nodes And currently we have this limitation 1300, because if you have more, the rendering performance decreases. So instead of showing individual nodes, we discussed that we will group nodes by location, and there will be one dot per location, but the size of dot will show how many nodes there is in this particular location. So there are still things like in progress in terms of UI. Yeah, so but this is the actual issue.
Okay, cool. And then I think our ticket inbox right now, it's going to be reduce front-end consumed data from connection. I can talk about this a little bit, but essentially we want to figure out how can we reduce the data that's being consumed from the front end, from the back end. So this ticket's to explore how can we like have the front end consume less data to kind of help maintain a lot of the higher node counts that we're expected to have. We can go over triage. One thing that we were mentioning in our Notion docs, for this is from Wei, is that, you know, it would be nice from the other perspectives if we could produce a node list so that, you know, the community and marketing team can also kind of get a nice breakdown of like what's going on with our node. So I'm going to put this in inbox. I think this is a nice feature to have that would be very supplementary to like kind of like our map view and whatnot. But yeah, anyone have thoughts on this ticket?
I think that also relates to snapshotting.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, go ahead, Serge.
Yeah, I wanted to say that it depends on whether we are showing the node list, because if we don't, then we won't be able to export list data.
Yeah, so I think the plan is that if we can get if the fix that we have work for telemetry, I think we should try to opt to maintaining the list view. But yes, and then back to what Jeremiah was saying, yes, this is related to snapshotting as well.
Well, we discussed it briefly with Notar, and it might work for the front end, but back end is still a bottleneck.
Yeah, so I think for this week, the goal is that if we can get the front end fixes to survive, we are going to do back end work on it to improve it. So we'll be queuing up, you know, stories for that as well. Okay. Let's see. I think that's most of it. Most of our backlogs are really just still Subspace desktop, so we'll have to revisit those later. The other high-level updates, again, as mentioned, this Thursday, it's going to be the kickoff with the auto team, so I'll keep you guys all posted with that. I think the other updates too is was Oskin you and I were talking about. So it looks like OSX has been tested. The remaining items we need is like the Linux testing and also Windows. So I believe Justin's working on Windows, but I think Ivan,
Yeah, we contacted with Ivan and Justin. Justin will start Windows testing later today, and Ivan already tested it. Ivan?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, for our pre-test test, yeah, thing is that I couldn't connect to like any node, but I get the same behavior like on the CLI. So I guess it's kind of fine, right? Yeah, I guess there are no boot nodes right now, or something. I also tried it with the like from the other like network. I tried it with VPN. Yeah, it works the same for me. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we took all the boot nodes down for pre-stress test to make them work for stress test. So I guess that means that we have to update they're not going to be able to test it unless we update desktop to reflect stress test, or we leave one boot node up for pre-stress test.
Yeah.
So we have to decide which one of those we're going to do.
Okay. Yeah, let's figure that out.
So we can either push it on the infrastructure team to set up another bootstrap node, or one of y'all can do it, or we can go through and update the code again to reflect the latest chain spec so it works with stress test.
Updating the chain spec is never a big issue for me, so I can always do that if you guys want.
that seems like the easier path, in my opinion. Okay, so
But then we're going to have to do that again once we switch stress test over, if the audit is still going on at that time, if they're going to be able to test it. And every time that stress test changes or resets, we're going to have to update that. Like, for instance, if we have to like do like a hard reset stress test, then we'll have to do another update to desktop. So that means we're going to have to continue to maintain compatibility going forward in order to test it, versus having like a dedicated test network, which we've kind of wanted to have before.
Okay. All right, yeah. So it feels like then the best option is that we just need to put the work in and just set up a test network for desktop. Because the audit runs about 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be a couple of changes on the network since then. So updating change like multiple times while we're in audit's not going to be ideal. Okay. So, all right, why don't we, let's figure out how to set up a test network for desktop then, and then let's go with that. I think ensuring stability for the audit it's going to be much more preferable on that side. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. Does that sound good with everyone? Okay. Other updates on my end is that, we're going to be syncing up with Subwall teams Thursday. So we're going to be doing a regular sync with those teams as well to just keep that going. Also, we did talk to Subscan last week. So looking forward to our development on the Explorer side. So yeah, I think those are the big highlights on my end as well.
For Subwallet, is it working with stress test? Have we given them those RPC endpoints?
No, we have not. And I can sync up after, and I can try to get the RPC endpoint, and then I can send it to the channel so that they can update.
Okay, yeah, let's make that a priority, because we've already updated all our docs, and we're making as part of the stress test announcement, we're going to ask everybody to use Subwallet.
Okay, well, I'll
So
get
we're
on
going to have a lot of users here pretty soon. Okay. For Subscan, I did sign the engagement is started, and Nazar connected with them, and they have access to an archival node right now for stress test. So I think all that it's basically kicked off, and we should be expecting to hear back from them soon on some progress within the next week.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Anyone else have any other updates they want to share?
Were there changes to Subspace JS or any of the examples in the last week since last call?
Yeah, there was a minor change. So Subspace JS is not included in this board yet. So previously I updated the DApp React application example because it wasn't working for me and for some potential candidates. And also last week I updated the Node.js, like pure JavaScript example. That's all.
Okay, awesome. Can you just refresh kind of our memories here, Serge, on the custom types and metadata v14 and Polkadot.js? As I understand it, as we change the monorepo, we basically get automatic forward updates to Polkadot.js. We don't have to go in and manually change anything like as we put in new types, right? That's all just automatic now.
By Polkadot.js, you mean the JavaScript library API or the Polkadot apps UI?
The Polkadot apps UI.
Yeah, I think it's agnostic. It doesn't care about custom types. Well, if it does, it will get it from metadata anyway. Yeah, probably it does because it allows you to send extrinsics, so it requires types. but it should get it from the metadata. We don't need to provide custom types anymore, like explicitly.
Yeah, I agree with Serge. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, there are types in the metadata which are exported, right, from the runtime itself. So yeah, everything is typed from the front end also.
Okay, great. Yeah, that question came up when we were talking to Subscan last week. And I just wanted to confirm that because I remember that Leo used to have to spend a lot of time doing that. But I think since they upgraded to that latest version of Polkadot.js apps, or like metadata version 14, that was all taken care of. We don't have any like legacy types that are before that.
I believe all of the complexity should be like on the bullet side, like from the Rust side, like there are just some extrinsics and there are some like drive macroses. Yeah, you just put some line on top of the like some of the structure. Yeah, and everything is derived, like all of the info about all the types. So everything should be good.
Awesome. Good. That was all the questions I had. Thanks.
All right. Well, if nothing else, thanks for joining us today for our meeting. See you guys next week.